Hi friends, it's Miss Jobie again. I'm here in a new place today. My family and I have gone on a little trip to go take care of a family cabin that we have near Lake Tahoe. And right now I am in one of the coolest rooms of the cabin. We call it the loft. It's a teeny tiny little bedroom that sits at the very tip top of the house. And that's where Nate has been spending the last few days. We've had to be working really hard to get things ready because this place gets lots of snow in the wintertime. And then when it's summertime, you have to do a whole bunch of work that you can't do when it's wintertime. So we've been stacking wood, we've been fixing things, we've been clearing off the deck, all sorts of things to get it ready for summer. We've been busy and we're tired, but not too tired to read you guys a bedtime Bible story. Brush your teeth, floss, go to the bathroom, get your PJs on, and don't forget the all-important water. Don't ask mom and dad after the story. Make sure you get it now. Today's story is a different and unique story. I'm not sure, maybe you've never heard this one before, but I think it's really interesting about how God changes things to help us even when we don't think it's helpful. It's called A Giant Staircase to Heaven, the Tower of Babel from Genesis 11. Remember Noah, the story Miss Lesley shared with us last Thursday, and how the flood came because the people had been so bad and were not listening to God? Well, this story takes place right after that. Noah and his family lived in the land, and his children had children, and those children had more children, and then those children had even more. Well, you get the picture, until there were lots of people on the earth once more. Now, back then, everyone spoke exactly the same language, so you didn't need to learn Swahili or Japanese or anything, because you could say hello to anyone and they knew what you meant. One day, everyone was talking and they came up with an idea. Let's build ourselves a beautiful city to live in. It can be our home and we'll be safe forever and ever. That sounds like a great idea. I would love to have a place like that. Then they had another idea, and let's build a really tall tower to reach up to heaven. Oh my goodness, wouldn't that be so cool if we could get all the way up to heaven by climbing a tower? This one's a little sideways. Crank your head. Yes, they said, we'll say, look at us up here. And everyone will look up at us, and we'll look down on them, and then we'll know we are something. We'll be like God. Uh-oh. Remember what happened with the angel that wanted to be like God? Never a good thing. We'll be famous and safe and happy, and everything will be all right. So they got to work. Brick by brick, the tower grew higher and higher until it soared above the city, touching the sky. They built stairs in the city. They built stairs in the tower to climb to the top. It was like a giant staircase to heaven. Look, they cheered. We're the ones. See what we can do with our very own hands. They were quite pleased with themselves. But God wasn't pleased with them. God could see what they were doing. They were trying to live without him. But God knew that wouldn't make them happy or safe or anything. If they kept on like this, they would only destroy themselves. And God loved them too much to let that happen. So he stopped their plans. One morning they went to work as usual, but everything was different. Their words were all new and funny. You see, God had given each person a completely different language. Suddenly, no one understood what anyone else was saying. Someone would say, "How do you do?" And the other person thought they said, "How ugly are you?" It wasn't funny. You could be saying something nice like, "Such a lovely morning," and get a punch in the nose because they thought you said, "Hush up, you're boring." You couldn't even say pardon to check if you had heard right because no one understood that word either. It wasn't easy to work together after that. As you can only imagine, people were always quarreling and fighting and getting in a dreadful muddle and becoming grumpier and grumpier until at last they were all too cross to keep on building and just had to stop. After that, people scattered all over the world, which is how we ended up with so many different languages to this day. You see, God knew however high they reached, however hard they tried, people would never get back to heaven by themselves. People didn't need a staircase, they needed a rescuer. Because the way back to heaven wasn't a staircase, it was a person. People could never reach up to heaven, so heaven would have to come down to them, and one day it would. That's such an interesting story. And I really love how it talks about why we all over the world speak different languages when we came from just Adam and Eve. Boys and girls, this reminds me that when I start to think about how great I am, that I need to change my perspective and remember how great God is and that he gave me those great gifts. Sometimes that's hard because we want to be wonderful and great and good, and we are, but we have to make sure that we are giving God the credit and giving God the glory for all the good in our lives. Will you guys pray with me? Father, Lord, thank you so much that we didn't have to make it to heaven. We don't have to build a staircase tall enough to get there, but that you came down to us, God, that you love us so much that you had a plan, God. You had a plan to rescue us, Lord. Father, I pray for each of us that when we're thinking we're better than other people, that we're the best, that instead we will remember that you're the best and that you give us good gifts and help us to be better, God. So, Lord, I pray that you would put that into these kids' hearts, that it would sink deep down in, God, that they would remember those truths, God, and that you would keep them safe and healthy, that you would give them good dreams tonight, God, that are dreams of adventure and fun. And Lord, I pray that you would help them as they go about their day tomorrow, probably getting close to finishing distance learning, Lord. And I pray that you would help us to all finish strong in the things that we are doing and remind us to always give you the glory and the honor. It's in your name we pray.